So we're joined today by the incredible, award-winning, chart-topping Tenille Arts, who's back in the UK in the midst of a world tour in support of her latest album, To Be Honest. Tenille, welcome back to Manchester.
Thank you so much. I'm very happy to be here.
Great. We're grateful to have you back in the UK. So you opened the UK leg of the tour last night in Glasgow. How did it feel to be back on stage in the UK?
It felt amazing. It was exactly what I expected it to be. Just amazing fans that know every word to every song. It's really fun to get to play over here.
Fantastic. And tonight you're back in Manchester. It's just a little over a year ago since you last played in the city over at Canvas. Do you have any memories of that gig?
Oh my goodness. Honestly, all I remember is the feeling of just people being really engaged with my music, and it made me feel really awesome, and I feel like it's probably going to be the exact same tonight.
Brilliant. And the tour is in support of your latest album, To Be Honest. The album landed a few months back now. Now that it's been out there a little while, what are your thoughts looking back at it?
You know, it's funny because I didn't realize I was writing a breakup album as I was writing it. And so I don't know. I feel different emotions to different songs on the album. I feel like it is very diverse. There's a lot of different topics that I talk about on the album, and that makes me feel good. I feel like there's a few topics that people may like some other country artists haven't touched on, and so it's nice to feel proud of my songwriting and get to perform it for people every night.
Definitely. I mean, in terms of the actual sound of the album itself, how do you feel that sound has evolved over the course of your various releases?
It has definitely evolved. I wrote with a producer that kind of had some like 80s synth like sounds, and I got really attached to that for some reason with this album and really wanted it to all kind of match that vibe. Just even if the topic was sad, it was still kind of like, I don't know, like upbeat and fun. And yeah, I don't know. Sometimes you just got to cry in the club, you know?
Definitely.
Or in the pub.
Yes. I mean, was there a particular challenge that you faced whilst putting the album together, whether it was during the course of the writing or the recording?
I don't know if there was like a challenge. I couldn't quite figure out what I wanted the album to be called. And then I ended up writing with a few more friends and co-writers, and the title To Be Honest came out, and it kind of wrapped up the whole thing. That's always my challenge, is like, what is the album going to be called? Yeah. What are we going to promote when we come out with the album? So, yeah.
Brilliant. And let's talk about sort of bringing the album now to a live show. Firstly, when it comes to putting the set list together, how do you decide which tracks are going to make the set list and what the running order is going to be?
Well, right now, since it's just me and Mia on this tour, we kind of brought it down a little bit and picked different tracks. In the future, I'm sure we'll play more of the other songs, but yeah, it's an interesting process because you kind of want to be emotional, but you want to be fun. So there's different ways of putting together a set list. And for me, I really only have one moment where I've actually cried like 2 times on stage in the last like week. So, but there's like, you know, the moments that you look out into the crowd and you want to make them feel something. And so I try to, you know, kind of make it feel fun and then kind of bring it down a little bit and then come back up into something fun.
Is that to you what makes a good gig, that crowd being with you?
Oh yeah, I mean they have to come along with me on the ride for sure.
And in terms of the individual tracks, how do you set about translating a track for a live show as opposed to, you know, a feature on a record?
I mean, we kind of just go in and mess around with tracks and everything. whether it's in the studio or whether it's in the rehearsal room, it's like everybody is collaborating together. And I think that's something that's super special about Nashville, is that we just kind of, everybody's open to different ideas, and it makes it very special and a unique show, and that's what I aim for.
Brilliant. And you touched on this already, but you know, one of the things that particularly shines through in your music is the vulnerability, the honesty, the fact it's also personal. But when you're on stage, what's going through your mind?
I think about where I was when I wrote that song. I think about the feelings that I had during that time. It's very emotional for me, like every single night. It's kind of like a flashback feeling of going back to where I was when I wrote those songs. And sometimes it's liberating, sometimes it's sad, sometimes it's, you know, happy, sometimes it's celebrating things. You know, it just, depending on the song, I feel all of the emotions every single time that I sing all of those songs, which, like, everybody's like, why are you so tired after a show? And I'm like, it's not because I was out on stage. It's because emotionally it was like up, down, up. Yeah. Like it goes all over the place.
I mean, is there a particular track that resonates with you when you perform it live?
One of the new tracks, So Do I, is a song where I usually sit down on the edge of the stage, and it's a very emotional song, and it's very fresh and very new. And so sometimes if I see somebody in the audience get emotional, I can't help it. I'm somebody that cries with other people. Like as soon as I see somebody get emotional. So yeah.
Nice. Now, as part of the UK run, you're also playing at Bristol's Small Town Big Music Festival. And then obviously you had quite a few dates in the US before you came across to the UK. How does your approach to performing live change according to the type of gig it is?
It depends. I mean, if it's a festival, you know, you're just high energy the whole time. Change your set list to be a little more, you know, up and fun. But I love playing venues like this because it's a little more intimate, and you can kind of go either way. Like you kind of can gauge the crowd energy and change up what you're doing. It's the same way in the US with club venues. And I mean, this is so cool. Look around, there's posters everywhere. It's like writing on the wall, and you know, you don't always get that kind of like grungy vibe at a festival, so you kind of got to switch it up.
Perfect. And obviously over the last few months you've been on the road a lot, on the To Be Honest tour. Is there a particular memory or a particular gig that's going to stick with you from this tour?
I mean, a memory for me would be my sister is traveling with me right now, and she works with me, she helps me, and it's just nice to have a family member with me. You know, we grew up together and had a lot of fun dancing and singing, so it's fun to have her here. One of my favorite memories is just, there's a line in one of my songs that says, even when it ain't all glitter, take a mental picture. And I go like this when I'm on stage, and it I'm taking mental pictures right now.
Perfect. I was going to ask what keeps you going whilst you're on the road, but perhaps it's your sister.
Yeah. I mean, there's a lot of people that go into making everything happen, and you know, days are sometimes a lot of things go wrong. I'll just say that. Travel days, all of those things. But it's more about the people that you keep beside you and the people that keep you going and support you and celebrate you. So, yeah.
Yeah. So what's the biggest challenge then that you've faced on this tour?
Well, this has actually been pretty smooth. We had some backline issues that we had to solve yesterday.
Okay.
But it all worked out, and yeah, it's just kind of like a panic, and then everything's fine. We can work it out, you know. So that's usually the only issue. The last time I came over here, my bags got lost for like weeks.
Oh,
so
no.
I was wearing like random clothes that I could find. So sometimes that happens, but thankfully on this trip it has not happened yet, but I need to like knock on wood.
That's a relief. Has your approach to touring changed at all over the last few years?
I've become a lot more chill, I think. Like, just I've calmed down a little bit. I don't get as nervous. I'm a little bit more you know, focused on how people feel versus how I feel. Like, just making it a good time for everybody.
Excellent.
Yeah.
And you're, obviously, as I mentioned, you play Manchester tonight, got a couple more UK dates, and then the tour's almost at an end. What's coming after that?
Well, I'm writing an album. I can't stop. I mean, I feel like that last album, to be honest, just came out. But I come up with ideas almost every night, and I write them all down. I haven't had time to like really work through them yet because of tour, but I think there might be a new album next year. I don't know. Like, that's
excellent.
That's kind of what I'm working on.
And what sort of feel will that album have? Similar, or is it heading in a different direction?
Different direction. It is a little bit more like folky type of stuff. A little more singer-songwriter type of vibe, less produced. Yeah, I can't quite decide. I mean, I might absolutely change my mind. But so far, that's the direction it's going.
Excellent. Well, we can't wait to hear it.
Thank you.
So good luck tonight. I'm sure it'll be an absolutely fantastic gig.
Thank you.
And we can't wait to see you back on stage.
I will be back. Thank you.
Tenille Arts, thank you so much for your time.